And I think we're live, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you guys for joining my stream and everything like that. Uber appreciative. A couple people joining in. Just do me a favor, check in. If anything's jacked up with the audio, please let me know. I'm trying a new thing right now. Obviously, I just shaved, so looking like a completely different person right there. Uber appreciative. Everyone checking in over the last couple days. It's been pretty wild. We've had a lot of good, people, checking in, leaving feedback and everything. Awesome, Scott. Thank you so much, man. I appreciate it. So what's the whole point of this stream? There's two folds on it in what I like to discuss. The first thing is I wanted to kind of compile the last couple of days of everything going on. It's been pretty wild. We've had a lot of, with this dispersal draft and then that dispersal draft and then this and that. And it's just kind of been a little bit menacing, for lack of a better term. I wanted to go over some of the rosters as well, see everything that's kicking up on that front. Also wanted to, gather everyone's opinions, run this through until the announcement, show the announcement on here, because that's happening in less than 50 minutes now. And then from there, continue to just gather feedback and everything like that. So, I mean, we've been doing pretty well on these streams. Been getting up to about 30 people or so, which for me is really good. Been gaining some subscribers. So from there, I really want to continue and get that. Hey, Bobby, how are you? So just going to give it, wait some people come in. Run and shoot needs to be in the league. Let me post that comment right there. And apologies, by the way. We've been talking about that and whatnot. So the run and shoot needs to be in the league. I mean, I think that's as close as we get with AJ Smith, personally. I think with AJ, and Alex, I think this is the first time you're here. I appreciate you coming in. I think with AJ, allegedly going to the Brahmas, and I'll pull up his thing right there. It does look like he'll be bringing Wade Phillips, obviously, was a part of that transition over there. So AJ being there, it's going to be whatchamacallit, it's going to be that same type of Hal Mummy, air raid type stuff. There was a little bit of that with AJ McCarron, rather, and what's his name, and Collie, I can't even think right now. AJ McCarron and Bruce Gradkowski, they tried to run some like real cute stuff with this kind of type of offense he did. They stuck a lot in like 4-minute offense and whatnot. So it wasn't too crazy on that front, but it is what it is on that. So going into that, as of right now, I think it's bits and pieces. Funny, I talked about, the Stallions, or not Stallions, the Brahmas offense and whatnot earlier, because Jaime Elizondo, we were talking about Case Cookus a little bit. Jaime Elizondo was there, and we were trying to see if, like, Case Cookus, because he was his coach, actually tried to recruit him prior when he was a free agent, when he was with the Rams after he got cut on that front. But, we'll see what happens on that. I think Wade brings a lot of his guys, and if you guys look at the screen right there, that's the post of AJ Smith coming back from the dead, right? So it has been confirmed that is the guy right there. But we will, everything is tentative until it happens, right? Appreciate more people coming in. If you're new, please drop a like, subscribe, all that goofy stuff. Coming up on 900 right there. I want to go through some of these rosters real quick, and then I'll bounce back to more Wade Phillips stuff. As you can see, and granted, this is Wikipedia, so some days it has more like, up to date than the actual like USFL Fox Sports websites and whatnot, but they did take away all their free agents and whatnot. So I checked this probably once or twice. Obviously, the Panthers are safe. You go down to the Generals. This is who remains there. I want to highlight some of these guys. You got Yeah, Scott. To show your comment right there, Etling is a really big pickup for Michigan. He has a similar skill set to EJ Perry. Some people will. Bobby. Yeah, he is a LSU guy. He has a similar skill set. I think he's more mobile than Perry. He's got more experience and whatnot, but he started off at Purdue. He's originally a Terre Haute guy from Terre Haute, Indiana. Went to Purdue. I don't think he ever amassed more than like 18 touchdowns passing through a season, but in the end, he's definitely not someone to scoff at. He's been in the NFL since 2018. Patriots, Seahawks, Jaguars, Packers, and Broncos for 5 seconds. So he's been around the league. He was with the Falcons as well. Played in a lot of preseason games. Been around a lot of good quarterbacks. I think this is kind of perfect for him. It's funny that he did get signed. He was actually one of the first players I did a player profile about for the new USFL. So I keep that guy in my back pocket as far as like this guy could really pop. Right now they have Brian Lewerke and Carson Strong. So that's someone that I like to keep tabs on. Alex Hunt, what's my opinion on the left out of the coaching? Well, there's a lot of great coaches who are unfortunately like out to the wayside on this. Jaron Horton's a young up and comer, spent some time at UConn, was DC for. He was actually with the Atlanta Legends. He was the DC for the Pittsburgh Maulers, won the Pittsburgh player or the assistant coach of the year and whatnot. Had some real, for lack of a better term, dogs there. My opinion on that is I think it's pretty terrible. But there's also a lot of guys who have went and the league hasn't formally announced that they're gone already. So I think there's less coaching jobs. Excuse me. I think there's more coaching jobs open than a lot of people give credit for. There's also guys like Gary Watkins is a head coach of a JUCO in California. Christian Runza is defensive ends coach or defensive line coach for for I believe it's Monmouth, an FCS school in New Jersey. So there are a lot of guys who do have jobs right now doing double duty. Breakers coach TJ Veneri was the running backs coach. Now he's at Gannon University, a DT school. So there are a lot of guys who have jobs right now that a lot of people don't know. You have to do a little bit of digging on that. So does it suck that there is a lot of people who are kind of out to the wayside? Yeah. Well, on the flip side, there's plenty of people who have found employment and whatnot, and they should be okay. It still sucks because you start building that rapport and building that team and everything like that and the coaching staff. But in the end, it does even itself out, and there should be plenty of opportunities coming up. Something I was pretty big on was kind of doing a what's the term I'm looking for? Having these guys have internships while they kind of figure out their jobs and whatnot moving forward. Obviously, they didn't do that, it appears, but, we'll push down through that. We'll see what happens. More guys, Wade's coming, bringing a bunch of people over. He just lost Brian Stewart and everything like that. Alex, so it's not official yet, but the Showboats allegedly picked up John DeFilippo. The league hasn't announced it, but also the league didn't announce, that Haley was gone. They never did a press release. It was all over Memphis radio and whatnot. I think Haley confirmed it himself, but that was all through the Twitterverse and everything like that. So I think it's something to keep tabs on. John DeFilippo makes sense. I would have really liked for them to pick up Anthony Blevins, but these coaches, especially on the XFL side, were getting paid pretty well. I really am a little disappointed that it could have been done a lot better, I feel like, with some of their guys. But at the flip side, I hate to be that guy, but it happens. And from there, you just got to press on with it. And these dudes, these dudes know the game. Like coaching is such a volatile, very lucrative, but volatile lifestyle. And, especially with these spring leagues, spring football is always in, flux. So we'll see what happens on that front. But it is a risk for these guys to go take a job there. Chime in there. I was hoping that Haslett would get the job. Yeah, but Jim's older. He's been around. He was a UFL guy. in the original from like 09 to 12, went 6-0. Jim's 60 plus years old. At this point, he's kind of doing it. Some people say he looked disinterested at times. That's their opinion. I think he's just, an older guy. He had an older staff. Ron Zook's an older guy. June Jones, an older guy. Now they got Clint Ronaldovic, who, is there. But something interesting about the Sea Dragons is that they were actually tweeting out some of the stuff like, hey, keep tabs on it. This is what's going on. Greg, so and ride with me on this, right? Going into June really bothers me a lot. And the reason why it bothers me is because I felt that the biggest advantage the XFL had for their transitioning into NFL contracts was they could send these guys to minicamp. And I found minicamp to be such a big deal for not only the players getting more experience, but also just getting into the cycle. Like, Greg, we cover St. Louis in tenfold, right? Eric Magwood, FCS guy, transferred a bunch, and then all of a sudden he goes down to Buffalo, does the workout there, and now he's in the NFL cycle. A couple of years ago, no one knew who Eric Magwood was, and now this guy is working out, NFL training camp. And Greg, we know he only started 2 games, was a rotational guy on the field goal and everything like that, like unit. Like, and now he's got that opportunity. Going into these mini camps means so much. Like, Jack Cohn got like 5 or 6 mini camp invites and whatnot. Yeah. I mean, I'm big into Eric. We've had him. I've talked to him offline. I've communicated with him. He got a couple videos on the show with Jared Jones-Smith gone. I feel that Eric is in potential to be a guy for St. Louis and a guy in the XFL. He's 26 years old. Pretty good movement in his hips and whatnot. I've seen him work out. He worked out with a guy named Derek Dennis, Robert Nudice, guys like that who have had success at the NFL level, had success in CFL. Derek Dennis, working out with those guys. He's definitely someone that, me personally, I keep pretty good tabs on, and I'm really looking forward to seeing him take over that left tackle position for the for the Battlehawks. And whether it's AJ, whether it's Nick Tiano, or whether it's whoever's random coming up, that's someone that I'm really excited about. So I'm going to share this real quick. As you can see, this is Seattle Sea Dragons page. They they reshared this Fox Sports page, this tweet and everything like that. So I'm pretty pumped about what they got going on and everything. I will say the young lady that runs this, I've never met her before. Reid Johnson, from the Markcast, deals with her a lot, being a Seattle guy. This young lady works so hard. She does a great job. She really cares about this, and hopefully she's around for the new iteration of the league, and she's able to help out. And some of these XFL accounts, I mean, they do a great job. Some of them I think could be a little bit better. Some of the USFL accounts, I'd like to see them interact more. I think Darren James, he runs the USFL comms page. He does a pretty good job of kind of back and forth and everything like that. But in the end, I'd like to see more fan interaction. Like, I get retweeted every once in a while from all these pages. The DC Defenders retweeted one of my tweets recently, and still no follow from them. Alec asks, do you think the Renegades should run the West Coast or air raid offense? I think they could run the West Coast because of Luis Perez, if he is QB1 going into his second year in the system, kind of open it up a little bit more, quick, short passes. Luis can't hit those out routes, man. He's kind of like the Alex Smith of spring football. I personally think he could be a Hall of Famer. Not because of how many years he's played in this, and you can't tell the story of football without Luis Perez, in my opinion. But that Renegades room, and we'll look at their rosters in a little bit, is completely stacked with a lot of players and whatnot. Keep going down to the rosters and everything. I got Eric, going to the Generals, obviously one of the teams. Teams are supposed to break down into 40 2 players in a couple days. Excuse me, but Eric Barrier is a guy to keep eyes on. Obviously, you have Darius Victor, over 1,000 yards rushing. A couple guys in their wide receiver group that I'm pretty high on, but they are a little bit older. Joe Walker had issues with drops, but DeMornay Pearsonell, former Battlehawk, and Alonzo Moore, these guys have been around spring football for so many years that it'd be an injustice to not kind of keep tabs on them and whatnot as well. They might be able to creep into a roster. Their tight end group, Woody Braden, a little bit younger, but they're mostly blockers, all 3 of these guys. Going in the offensive line group, you want to keep tabs on Isaiah Battle, Calvin Ashley, Michael Vanterpool. He had a stint with the Patriots recently. So there's a lot of good players. Ethan Westbrooks, he's an older guy. Toby Johnson, Hercules Matafafa, and Olive Sakapoyu. These are all guys that, fringe NFL guys, a little bit older, but still could be valuable. And it comes down to what these coaches want to do. Do they want to win or do they want to develop? If you want to win, you probably sign a guy like Hercules Matafafa. If you want to develop some guys, then you're going to be going for these younger players who aren't as air quote famous. You go into that linebacker room for the Generals as well. Chris Orr, DeJuan Hines, Colin Hill, all guys, fringe NFL guys. And then Shalom Luani in the defensive backfield is probably one of the best safeties in the USFL. Brock Miller, obviously their specialist. He's a guy that's been, a fringe NFL guy, spent time here and there with some teams. So it's someone to keep tabs on. What's your opinion on the USFL and XFL coaching staffs? Personally, man, I mean, you look at the guys, and I'll link the video, but, I talked to Clint Sig about this, and, going with, like, Curtis Johnson and a guy like Curtis Johnson and his tight ends coach, Ray Rachinski, Super Bowl guy, was with the Colts for a little bit. These are the type of guys you want. You want these young, hungry coaches. In addition to, you want guys who are, been there, done that, and have the connections and experience to help out. I'll just link that video down there. That's my interview with Clint. He talks about that a little bit in the interview, and I feel like as long as you have guys like that, not these middle of the tier guys, and I hate to throw Todd Haley into it, but guys who are just kind of scorned by the NFL a little bit, I don't think those are the best dudes to come up there. I want guys who want to prove themselves. I want guys who are going to be dedicated to the young men that are going to be on this roster and eventually keep growing them so they could reach the next level. And the biggest thing for me is connections, man. You want to have these connections to push on. Coming down to the Philadelphia Stars, Case Cookus, in my opinion, is the most coveted quarterback that is a free agent, essentially. Their running backs, Matt Colburn, Dexter Williams, 2 guys that, a lot of people will keep high tabs on. Receiving core, I mean, pick which one. You got Corey Coleman, Samuel Akeem, Devin Gray, Cyril Grayson, Chris Rowland, Jordan Sewell. All 4 or 5 of those guys could easily step in. People might be away from Coleman just because he could be viewed as a little bit of a one-trick pony, but we'll see what people decide on that. Going into their offensive line, Jake Burton was a guy, Division III guy that came up late. Drew Himmelman is a guy I'm really high on. There was a lot of issues on that Stars offensive line last year. Himmelman came in really did right the ship for them. He was a midseason signing. Shamarius Gilmore, PFF rated him pretty high. I believe he was all USFL. Going into their defensive line, you got Adam Rodriguez, Carson Taylor, 2 guys who are just studs, in my opinion. Their linebacking core, Ryan Greenhagen, one of the more underrated linebackers. I think he had 22 tackles at Fordham. People might be high on Joel DeBlanco. He was with the Brahmas, was actually a captain, and then got released after 2 or 3 weeks. It wouldn't surprise me to see him get picked up. just his familiarity. But depending on what they do for their defensive coordinator, their secondary guy I like to keep ties on is Daniel Isom. Highlight here. He was with the Rams. I think he was on their Super Bowl team, but he was a UDFA out of Washington State. Channing Striblin, always someone you want to keep tabs on. Been around all these leagues. He's a real fringe NFL guy. Was with the Battlehawks, but then opted to stay with the Stars. So that's a guy that, Michigan dude, a lot of accolades on the USFL and interceptions in 2022. So I wouldn't be surprised if he would if he comes back and whatnot. Scott asked, and I'll pull that up real quick, is Ginda, Ginda, will be back in Michigan or free agents? Yep. So big into that. Fun fact about Isom, his father was, and Greg, correct me if I'm wrong, the police chief for a while, and then he was like the director of public safety for the city, and then recently, and I know he's not there anymore, but he was in charge of like security for Spire, which is an electric company. There's a couple St. Louis guys in the USFL. One recently got released. Greg could tell you about this guy. His name's Kyle Markway. His family, real big St. Louis ties. Went to St. John Vianney, which is where someone we've talked about a lot, Tion Harris, went as well. On the XFL side, there's a couple St. Louis guys. Caleb Elby just got released, but BJ Wilson. And, you got Mark Lillibridge, was the old DPP there, and he's got ties to the city as well. So someone to keep tabs on that front. Keep pushing on to the Stars second or special teams room. Luis Aguilar made like 24 field goals in a row. Look for him. Ryan Navarro, fringe NFL guy. You push down to the Maulers. Unfortunately, they went to the championship. And Greg's absolutely right. Won a ring, played with the Michigan Panthers, used sparingly, but Kyle Markway did win a Super Bowl ring. And I believe, Greg, you said you were at his signing day. You go to the Pittsburgh Maulers, you could get maybe, something with James Morgan getting picked up because of his NFL experience. He actually was recently put on the neg list. But we'll see what happens on that. I think Morgan's kind of washed, been around since like 2019, practice squad, FIU guy with the Bowling Green. Alec asked, do you think that Sal Cannell will lead the XFL in receiving yards this year? I do not. I'm not that high on him, and not because of his skill set or anything. I believe that there's so many other great players out there that it's just kind of, he's going to be, he's just going to kind of be, lost in the sauce a little bit, but we'll see what happens on that front. I do like Canelo. I think he's succeeded everywhere he's went. However, it just kind of seems like, that might be a crowded room, and, we'll see what happens on that front with him, but you got so many good tight ends coming up. You got, all the tight ends left over. Sage Surratt's out there. Good tight ends from the previous regime. There's a lot to be, desired in that position group, in my opinion. Matt Seibert, another guy, from the Pittsburgh Maulers. Going into their running backs rooms for the Pittsburgh Maulers, I mean, no one really gets me going. Mason Stockey is an H-back guy, someone to keep tabs on. Played a lot of special teams, tight end, fullback. Ish Hyman, Bailey Gaither, Isaiah Henney, Josh Simmons, all guys that could easily, change the impact of a team and whatnot. Real pumped about what they got going on. Offensive line, Sean Brown, been pretty consistent over there. Berdarius Ham, former cancer survivor. Terry Poole, been around for a while as well. Appreciate everyone jumping in. Make sure you drop a like and subscribe if you haven't. These are all guys that, can contribute going down into their linebacker room. Reuben Foster should be very highly coveted after a first-round pedigree. Really showed that he could play last year. And then their secondary, Bryce Torridon, Malcolm Elmore, all guys who are, got NFL looks, contributed on a pretty high level. Special teams, you got Matt Mangle, probably one of the strongest legs in the game, and Chris Blewett, NFL guy. Alec writes, I think Sage will go to Memphis if DeFilippo is the head coach. And yeah, I that doesn't surprise me. They do have J.J. Wilson. We'll pull up their roster in a minute. They do have J.J. Wilson. In addition to, I believe Daniel Helm is gone. They signed Michael Ezeki, or if I'm saying his name right, but there's definitely room for improvement there. Familiar in DeFilippo's system. That's someone that I could definitely see, transition to Memphis and then, continue to put up. I think he had almost 600 yards, if not over it. And that's a guy that, I'm extremely high up. In the South Division, they do have the Breakers, obviously leaving. Marcus Baugh, he's 26 years old, veteran guy from Ohio State. That's a guy to keep tabs on. Jonathan Adams, D. Anderson, Cam Eccles-Looper, Vinny Papali, and Lee Morris, all guys who have received NFL interest. Adams, Ohio State guy. Wes Hills really slowed down at the end of the season last year. But you got to remember he was playing in the CFL. I think he had like 7 games in the CFL. So that could be someone to kind of look at and be like, okay, what's going on? What's going on there? And whatnot. John Lewis from John Lewis Sports, who we need to link up when you come here. Did Perez get any NFL looks in the offseason? No, he has not. No workouts, hasn't popped up on any of that at all. It's really unfortunate. I do think his NFL window has closed. We'll talk more about the Arlington quarterbacks in a minute when we kick over to that roster, but it is 100% unfortunate. But I do think his NFL window is closed. He's been eligible since he came out of Texas A&M Commerce since 2018. He has been with the Eagles, the Lions, the Rams twice. So you got this guy. I mean, my biggest thing is his arm strength. Intelligence-wise, I think he's good, but I think he's going to be capping out at the USFL-XFL, UFL level. And there's nothing wrong with that, but unfortunately, I think that's kind of done with him. Going to and there are 2 good quarterbacks on the Breakers, by the way, Akil Glass and Davis Cheek. Akil, HBCU guys, St. Louis local. He just needs an opportunity. I feel like, I don't know if he'll be great, but I think he'll be extremely serviceable. And Davis Cheek, coming from Elon, spent some time with the Carolina Panthers, also had an opportunity with the XFL, was doing some of their workouts and whatnot. Yeah. I mean, Perez definitely is on the up and up to become a coach at some point, especially the fact he was able to teach himself. Their offensive line for the Breakers, guys to look out for: Paul Adams, Kirk Kelly, Marcus Lucas, all guys who've been around for a minute. Reggie Howard on their defensive line, someone to keep tabs at. He's, traditional 3 technique. Vontae Diggs, linebacking core, there, guy I keep real tabs on. And then Matt Conklin as their kicker for the Breakers, someone to keep, I think that could translate pretty nicely into the new merged league as well. Kickers are going to be hard, man, because then you got some of these guys that got the college connections as well. John brings up the Luis Perez quarterback. Let's talk about the Arlington quarterback room. You got Holton Ayers with the Seahawks, lefty from ECU. Kevin Anderson, Fordham guy, went to Marshall for a little bit, been in the AAF, has ties to Scott Spurrier. Played a couple snaps this year, went 1-of-1 for about 5 yards. Kelly Bryant, Mizzou, Clemson guy. Connor Blumrick, he's kind of your Taysom Hill. He can play a little bit tight end. And with them having Tyler Roberts, Sean Byron, Nate Becker, very possible. They also had Kerry Angeline that they had the rights to as well. Connor Dagenhart, this guy, real tall. lean body, had some, interest with the Chiefs and whatnot. He has the ability, in my opinion, to do a lot of good stuff if given the opportunity. Kind of, pretty mobile. Plays a lot like that kid at SEMO, Paxton De Laurent. And then obviously Luis Perez. Perez has thrown almost 40 touchdowns in spring football, over 5,000 yards, has won the championship, has been able to, led the Generals to the playoffs and whatnot. There's a lot of good, plus size or plus signs for Luis Perez. Or I think you roll with him going into, week one. But that's just my opinion on that front. Davion Smith, someone to keep tabs on, getting a little bit older, former Michigan guy, but, from the XFL 2020, from the AAF with the Orlando Apollos, guy to definitely not sleep on whatsoever. Their receiving core doesn't wow me too much. Caleb Van Der Esch and Brendan Arconado, two guys that really came up and really did a lot of good stuff, in my opinion, but it depends on what, John Hayes is looking and Chuck Long over there is looking at and how they feel about a lot of it. Their offensive line group is a little bit older. Garrett McGinn, Tenton Salts, Brian Folkeritz, all, close to 30. I think Folkeritz is over. Cameron Hunt, all guys with NFL experience. Jake Lucina recently with the Generals for the last 2 years. He could be a guy to kind of push Cameron Hunt. I think he's a little younger than him, so we could see on that. Tomasi Lowley, he was with the Generals, I believe, not the Generals, the Gamblers in 2022, and then 2023, has scored a big man touchdown and whatnot. Defensive line, pretty slim there. I look for them to upgrade on that. You got Adam Rodriguez and Carson Taylor, who I mentioned, are out there. Maybe a couple, maybe Hercules Malafafa as well. Their linebacking core is deep. Will Clark, Ryan Mueller, Donald Payne, Christian Sam, Colin Schooler. Darnell Sankey is listed on there, but he is in the CFL. He recently won a championship with the Alouettes. Max out as well. You got Willie Taylor, who was there last year. All guys real deep. Real deep room. I'd be pretty pumped about it. And then you go down to their defensive backs, Shakur Brown, Devontae Ballsby, Josh Hawkins, see if he comes back. Remember, he tore his ACL. Delonte Hood, an NAIA guy, was with the Broncos. Joe Powell, Jamar Summers. Do I think Arlington repeats? No, I do not. And it's nothing against Arlington. I just think the Battlehawks, when they're on their best game, they're a lot better. DC, Teamu has still not signed. He's still out there and whatnot, so I'm very curious on that front. I do love a lot of what Arlington is doing as far as loading up on the defensive side of the ball. Special teams room, probably one of the best in the league, but I don't think that they translate into another championship. As you can see with the DC roster, Jeremy Hickbottom, De'Ara King, those are your quarterbacks. I don't see Hickbottom sticking around very long. That might be a me problem more than anything else. But he's an Arena League guy. They kind of signed him the last couple days of the season. And, something I talk about with Hickbottom is when you sign Hickbottom, unfortunately, when you sign him, it's because the USFL season's coming up. Any quarterback that might be interested in whatnot, they're going to be pushing on more towards the USFL at that point. But we'll see what happens and whatnot. They still have plenty of talent on the ground game and whatnot. Abram Smith, Puka Williams, who was really underutilized in my opinion. I think he's got a ton of potential, but we'll see what kind of manifests from that. Receiving core, obviously, and whatnot. Split, what do you want me to elaborate on the and whatnot? And appreciate you chiming in, man. Hopefully you drop a like on that one. But, I can elaborate if you if you want. Alex Hunt writes, if Phelps is the SA head coach, I think he will draft most Roughnecks players. He might, but he can also find ties to, guys who are attached to his son, his buddies. The guy's been around for the league for a while, A lot of his Roughnecks players got released. And, they got rid of Max Borghi as well. He's on the Battlehawks now. So it could be, pretty goofy and whatnot on that. And on that front, keep going through the DC roster. Briley Moore is someone that really came on towards the end. They used him and De'Aaron King really had a pretty decent connection. Some of De'Aaron King's most ridiculous touchdown passes were to him. Robert Windsor is a guy, retired from football, was with the Vipers. He's someone to keep tabs on as well. A little bit of shuffling around with the DC offensive line. Liam Ryan obviously retired. Bruno Reagan retired. So we'll see what goes on with that. Defensive line, they also lost Jacob Panasek, who retired. That's Mike Panasek's brother. Linebacking core, in my opinion, is really someone to look at because you got Davin Bellamy, Reggie Northrup, and then Francis Bernard, all guys who have NFL experience, who have been around NFL rosters to really get real goofy at. Really curious to see what Jerry and Conley and DJ Swearinger do if they come back for 2024. Those guys, in my opinion, Jerry and Conley was a first-round pick. I think that DJ Swearinger, also a high draft pick as well. Two guys that, very close to reaching the NFL pinnacle, having a lot of success. We'll see what they can translate to. Greg Williams over there, he's always going to find ways. And then Monte Nicholson as well, a guy who's around the NFL for a while. There's a lot of good potential there. Houston, a lot of controversy with them. All these guys look to be gone. We'll see what happens with Brandon Silvers. Lindsey Scott's obviously coaching right now, so something to keep eyes on. Bryson Aline really, really towards the end showed that he could be a all-purpose back and whatnot. Played a little bit. Jeremy Cox had a big game towards the end. Some of these receivers that I'm really excited about are Landon Akers. He played with the San Antonio Brahmas last year. He had the ability, I think, to really, really pop if it wasn't for, kind of their issues at QB play. No tight ends. Gareth Owens retired, it appears. They released him, but he's doing a lot of stuff with country music and everything. Deontay Burnett. But is another guy that really popped. Connor Davis, XFL guy, AAF guy. He's a tight end. Maybe he slimmed down. They have him listed as a wide receiver, but he was a good role player piece. Cade Warner, you gotta be high on Cade Warner because of his ties to his family. Was really hoping to see Cade at the Battle Dome. I always make the joke. To talk about Cade as a catching a reverse pass from. It'd be funny to see Cade catch a reverse pass, throw it to Austin Prohl. Benjamin Davis, it's going to be on Fox. It's going to be at 12 o'clock Eastern today. I'm also going to replay it on the stream when it does go live. So if you stay here, appreciate it. You checking in. No, you guys are correct on that front. But yeah, Ben, appreciate you checking in. So that's in 12 minutes. So pretty excited about that. We're just going through the rosters, wanting to get a decent amount of y'all. I think we chopped up at about 23 people here. I was really hoping to break 30, because that was the highest we've gone. But, people chopping in, a lot of good comments and everything like that. Keep going through the Roughnecks offensive line. Alex Millette, Jack Snyder, BJ Wilson, who I'm doing an interview with tomorrow that goes live. So check that out. Tim Ward on the defensive line. A couple guys there. Teron Vincent, Troy Vincent's son. And then pushing down to their linebackers, Trent Harris, I believe he led the XFL in sacks last year, 9.5. Nate Whelan's a guy keep eyes on. He NAI, a guy spent time with the Patriots. Maybe this year he pops a little bit more. Adrian Harris and Will Likely in the secondary, two guys that should be highly sought after. Will is a little bit older, but on the flip side, he has not been slowing down, has been playing at a high level. Guardians, another team that's going to be going to the wayside. Todd Centillo, JMU guy, came in after DiNucci. I think they were on the roster. Quinn Dormandy really came on in the end, but, all that drama with him. DeAndre Francois, I'm not really high on him, man. It's, he's proven to me time and time again he cannot translate to the outdoor game. So it is a pretty crazy thing to see, all the stuff that happened. He still was able to play. Their offensive line group, as you can see, has been really gutted. Their running backs room, Jermaine Martin really came on. Mike Weber was with the Generals on their roster, never reported, but he's a former, I think he played with the Guardians, if I'm not mistaken. No, he did not. I know he's an Ohio State guy, as you guys can see. Going into the receiving core, biggest guy to look at, in my opinion, Dan Williams has the most upside. A lot of people high on Andrew Jamil, but I think he's kind of your shifty slot back guy that everyone will be, clamoring over once players are able to get drafted and whatnot. It's going to be Cody Latimer. Cody Latimer, obviously wide receiver, transitions to tight end. Real high upside for him. He's got Jalen Smith as well. He was with the Battle Hawks. I think he came on late because he got an NFL opportunity. And then from there, he really kind of popped with Paxton Lynch, of all people, and whatnot. Jacoby Jones, someone who is right here, the defensive end. This guy is a really boomer bust guy, man. He's either going to make a bunch of plays or you're never going to see him on the field. I'm pretty high up on him. I think he'll be able to really help another team because he can kind of play that 3-4 end, or you can be a 3 technique, or, he's pretty versatile as well. Eli Rogers, good guy to bring up. He's, had a lot of success in the NFL early in his career. Now as he's older, has kind of fallen off the circuit. I personally feel he's got some offers with the arena leagues and the IFL and all that stuff. We'll see where he lands as this comes to an end. But in the end, I am pretty excited to see if he's able to latch himself on a XFL, UFL roster, because in the end, these guys have so much, I don't want to say gluttonous, but there's so much talent out there right now, with obviously going from 16 to 8 teams, that I do believe that the quality of football will continue to rise. And it's going to be a lot harder. I think college has really – that's really, really, really that's, really what's the word I'm looking for? There's so much talent out there right now that, could really, really benefit. And with college, guys staying later, leaving later and whatnot, I think these smaller leagues could be a really good avenue for, FCS guys, group of 5 guys, and Division II guys to possibly, 1, make some money, and 2, have an opportunity to play, professional football. BHN, the only person that's live for this event, you could grab a lot of extra subscribers. Well, I mean, that's the goal. I mean, I'd love to, we're going to play it live on here. See, hopefully that doesn't get us shut down. I appreciate you checking in. We've been working real hard over here. Just share this with you guys real quick. Go on to the Twitter. We crossed 100,000 views, man. We're less than 140 subscribers away and about 800 hours from monetization, which, the more we can do, it helps us out, and we could really, get some new guests. I have a couple college coaches that, once the new year comes around, we'll be able to talk with and what their programs are from D3 to Power 5. We've been talking with a couple D2 schools. Also translate a couple players and whatnot before the season starts. We want to do some media, and then there's a couple high school combines we should be working with soon. So that's something I'm really proud of, though, hitting that 100,000 view mark. We've had a couple random videos, pop off from my contracting days, but it is what it is. John, appreciate the kind words. And, if you're not subscribed to John, I definitely recommend you doing that. He's got some awesome videos. He's got a couple things and whatnot as well that he's done that, I can't say enough about. I'm going to put John's channel in the comments real quick. But yeah, it's a lot of good people doing a lot of good work. It would be cool if they bring back 2 UFL teams in 2025. There's a really good video out there. It's of them talking about the old UFL and whatnot. And I always found that it was it was just one of the more enjoyable things in my opinion, that like the UFL was the first thing like that I really got into. Like I remember the old XFL. Yeah, no, but John, I don't know if you can see behind me. I'll try to grab it. I got my headphones. But if you guys can see, this is a New York Sentinels helmet. The Omaha Nighthawks, and John, correct me if I'm wrong, was owned by Joe Moglia, who was really big in the Citibank and everything like that. But it was funny that he did that, had a corporate career, a little bit like Biff Poggi, but after that, you do have Bart Andrus. Jeff Jackowski is also on the staff there as well. And there's so many coaches, like Mike McDaniel coached in the UFL. Brian Johnson played in the UFL. Josh McCown played in the UFL. Brooks Pollinger. You can go down the list. And I think we talked about that as well. And, I'd really like to see some of those teams. USFL people and Fox people, they are able to kind of, see everything and play that game a little bit with the trademarks. So why not? Why not kind of push that out there and figure it out on that front? John, I appreciate you checking in, man. If you haven't yet, please drop a like, subscribe. Guys, we are 3 minutes from from this announcement. We haven't even got through the rosters. It's been good conversation. But, I'd love to see some of these older UFL teams come back. It was kind of nice. We had the New York Sentinels, and then that led way to like the FXFL, which had Josh Freeman playing, Mike Golick Jr. A lot of good talent in the UFL. And are you going to be a DC fan, John, for the new league or for the DC Defenders? Yeah, man, go for it. Yeah, Joe Maglia, great story, man. Goes back to Coastal Carolina as well. Yeah, he had a pretty good stint at Coastal Carolina when he went back for a couple of years. So I'm, big Joe Moglia fan, big whatnot. Yeah, I've been doing the live stream. We just hit 30, so that's pretty cool. I've been, John, I really don't know if we're going to get a New York team, man. I just don't know if financially they have to get their ducks in a row and whatnot as well. I just don't see them doing that in the micro right now. I feel like there's a lot of drama and everything with that. And from there, it just might not be fiscally worth it. I mean, yeah, it is Hartford, but is that New York? So there's a lot of good stuff, obviously, with it. I do feel that there is a lot that potential in New York. Maybe, I know A-Rod talked about doing the draft. Well, I'm going to link a Twitter account to it as well, BHNN. So from there, I'll even, I'm going to link because God willing, they're going to post all this stuff, right? If they don't, then, I don't really know what to say about that. The West Point Stadium would be awesome. They could go back to Hofstra. They're not doing anything at Hofstra right now, so it might as well. It's, in my opinion, just the New York market was so underutilized, but, expenses, putting the players up there, all that stuff, like it could be a lot of great potential, but at the same time, it could really, the Long Island Ducks, I know they support the Long Island Ducks there out in Central Islip, but how many people are going there? You have a lot of people going the other way to the city. I'm just very curious to see what they do there, but God willing, they got something going on over there. Yeah, Bobby, I got my 30. We topped out at 31. Yeah, I used to, Kevin Baez was a guy that, I knew growing up. So, it's someone that I was a big fan of. Trying to post it up here. It's 11 o'clock. I haven't seen anything yet. I used to live in New York, John. I grew up. I actually went to St. Francis High School. So we're on Fox NFL Sunday. I'm watching it, refreshing on that. I'm refreshing. Nothing. As you can see, going to go to the XFL page. I got Fox pulled up right now, Fox Sunday. Watching Rob Lowe right now on Fox. As soon as it goes live, I am going to switch screens on it, and then we'll put it there. I do like the X division and the Y division, or the U division, but it's nothing too crazy on this front that I'm losing my mind about or not. They said 11. They said 12 Eastern per the tweet, so I'll pull it back up. We got some big news to share, as you can see right here. Foosball fan, thanks for checking in. Please drop a like. I think you subscribed last time, and I appreciate that. So it says 12. So I'm right now. We're watching. We're watching Fox right now. So we'll see what happens. I'm really. They got a lot of people who are going to be, pretty geeked out. I've been very pro. Let's just call it the XFL. Let's call it the USFL. Whatever people thought was the best move to keep it like kind of going and everything. Just whatever keeps continuity with the league, in my opinion. So I'm going to share the tab. As you can see, I do have it pulled up, but I'm not trying to lose it. So I do have it. As soon as they mention it, I'm going to transition over there to it. It's just I don't want to get it pulled down. But we'll see what happens. In the meantime, we will continue to push on with these rosters. I'm going to be logging off at 11:15 East Central Time, my time. So I'm going to link to where Reid Johnson is doing on the Markcast. I don't want to take away from his views. I know a lot of people are there, but we'll see what happens. Bumping up to 36 right now. Guys, leave questions. Appreciate everyone new. Drop a like. 37. This is a high watermark for me, so I'm extremely grateful. Right now on Fox, they're talking about yesterday the craziness in the Lions Cowboys games and everything like that. So we'll see. Yeah, we are still waiting on this right now. Void's a Bear. Appreciate you popping in, man. Make sure you drop a like. Kale Yarbrough. Someone, Tom Wilkinson recently just passed away as well. I'm gonna pop it. Yeah, the Lions don't need the win, but at the same time, what's right is right, and I feel that they kind of got jerked around, and it's not him. Yeah, I mean the USFL was not the best viewed, but I think a lot of people had football fatigue personally. And I think after so long that people are just kind of like, oh my God, and whatnot. So yeah, we'll stay on the stream then, BHN, until about 12:15. We'll get the announcement, and then if you guys want to go check out the Markcast, I'll link it down there. It's a lot. Just saw we popped over 460 or 864 subscribers. If you're new here, please drop a like and subscribe. Appreciate it. We'll be going through and whatnot. Yeah, I think the empty stadiums, because it changes the camera angle, right? Like how jazzed up do you get when they kind of come down on the drone and you see all the crowds and everything like that? I do think that bothered me, but I do think there is a lot of potential and whatnot. Ratings, I just think the 2020 XFL is so high up there, and you also have like the 2001 XFL that it kind of messed up the expectations. The USFL week 1, I think, capped out at 4 million or something like that. So we could see a lot of good stuff pushing forward. And now you're going to be foosball fans because you're a psychopath. That's why. I think there is going to be a lot of good stuff coming out though, as far as more football, all this goofy stuff. Popping back over, pushing down there. We're still rocking with the 2001 XFL. There was a lot of things, I loved about the USFL. There's a lot of things I loved about the XFL. I think Fox had a really good performance and whatnot. As far as just everything that they had with presentation and whatnot. I also think that the XFL did a lot of good stuff as far as their presentation because of ESPN, but that's always going to come down to, in my opinion, what people think is whatever their particular tea is and everything like that. Just to dab on this for about 5 more seconds. And then just to show you that. So we'll pop that back up. I'm not trying to lose the stream or anything like that. John thinks he's going to take away from the XFL, USFL, or the WNBA. I mean, probably. I mean, I think some people. That's a debate I'm not trying to have in my comments, man. Yeah, I mean, I watch every single game. Vold's a beer. I, support the players. I, know some of these players. I support the coaches. So it is what it is. So I'm very curious to see what's going on on that front. We're coming up on 11:10. This is kind of funny. Mark Perry posted this. He goes, So all this merch is going to Goodwill. See, he changed it up already. UFL news hub and whatnot. So we're pushing, man. I'm sorry. I really was hoping to be done on the stream. Let everyone kind of go do their own thing, but it does. Not everyone's got the Fox Sports. And let's go back on the Twitter real quick. Yeah, so they kind of gave us a teaser. They're talking about the business side of football, and then they just kind of went away from it and whatnot. So, yeah, we got nothing going on right now. So, yeah, right now they're talking about all these hip young offensive coordinators pairing with defensive head coaches like Cliff Kingsbury, Chip Kelly, Jed Fish, all potential guys that come up and whatnot. I'm very curious on these socials. I would really want to keep it kind of, the same because look, like you got, we'll bring it back up. You got 381 followers for the XFL. The teams have way more and whatnot as well. It is, in my opinion, more advantageous to have them. Yeah, foosball fan. Yeah. So we're on the commercial break right now for Fox Sports and everything like that. We're going to keep it here for a little bit. Keep going down the rosters as well. We're on San Antonio. Kurt Benkurt's obviously out. Jack Cohn's still there. TJ Edwards, GLVC guy, D2, playing the IFL. Someone to keep tabs on. Paxton Lynch, first-round pedigree and whatnot. You pair Paxton Lynch up with AJ Smith, man. I'm very curious to see what happens. Kalen Balaj did a lot of good things. Fringe NFL guys. Stevie Scott coming straight from the Michigan Panthers and everything like that. He's someone to keep tabs on as well. Nick Hawley, guy's been around the the NFL a little bit, played arena, everything. So he's a guy, slot guy and whatnot. So I have a friend who helps with the uniforms for Arlington, and he's got no word for me. So the actual game day staff and whatnot, I know a lot of those Battlehawk guys, they have no idea what's going on either. So guys are up to 45 here. Appreciate it. If you're new, please drop a like. Please subscribe. Really helps me out. Channel's growing. Tomorrow I have BJ Wilson interview coming up, so that should be uber chill. I'm pretty excited about that. 45 is my high watermark, by the way, or 47. No, Michigan Panthers will be playing at Ford Field. They just signed a contract earlier, so we'll see what happens, guys. 11-13 right now. Foosball fan saying that the merger fell through. Hell, at this point, anything's possible. Would be the craziest thing in my mind. Yeah, it is what it is. Another dome, yeah, it's at Ford Field, so which should be okay. I'm the sweep. Thanks for checking in, man. Please drop a like. Hoping for why is that, by the way? If you want to elaborate on that, why do you want the Gamblers over the Roughnecks? As you can see, we do have a Gambler's helmet right there. And I need to give a big shout out to my girlfriend for a Christmas present. Right there, if you can kind of see, you probably can't. There's a DeAndre. What's up, Buckeye Mike? Drop that like, man. My girlfriend, got to big shout out to her. She has got me a DeAndre Swift helmet from his time there. So I'm pretty excited about that. As we continue here, nothing going on yet. As soon as they go live, I will be posting it. Thanks, Buckeye Mike. let's see, 11:15. Sam says he's depending on me. Oh man, don't put that pressure out there. I mean, I think that's pretty cool that, you want to continue doing it with your dad and everything like that. And, you know, I think it's really awesome. We'll see. Yeah, I mean, I don't want to keep it on too long because then they're going to shut down the stream and everything like that. You got 47 people here. Some people are kind of depending on, excuse me, depending on like the stream to kind of give them the knowledge and and whatnot. I mean, Reid stream should be starting soon. I'm going to drop a link in there as well. Do a refresh of the XFL page real quick. It's kind of crazy. Yeah. Ronald Ashley writes, I won't be surprised if it's at the back of the hour. I mean, we'll go to 11:30. I don't want to take away from him. Right now they're talking Steelers Seahawks. They're doing their pregame and everything like that. The last thing I want to do is keep people waiting. I mean, we went through the rosters, we went through the coaching, talked about Wade Phillips and everything like that. We just hit 49, guys. If you're new, please drop a like. Yeah, I mean, I'm big into Geno Smith. I'm big into 51 now. That's pretty rad. I'm big into Geno Smith. I'm big into Drew Lock, being a Mizzou guy. So we'll see what happens. Do I like the new college football playoff for 2024? I do personally. I think it's going to, allow a lot of stuff. I don't think Florida State should have got in, but it is what it is. Yeah, man. As you can see, feverishly, we reset. Go down to Fox Sports. So right now on Fox Sports, they're talking to the Browns and the Bills about their playoff run. Yeah, Mike, I appreciate it, man. Can this be watched online? Obviously, if you had Fox Sports or something like that, Fox Sports app, Spectrum, whatever your thing is, appreciate you checking in. I'm going to be trying to play it once it goes live. And then from there, making it through that. As soon as it goes live, we'll transition over and everything like that. Appreciate you checking in. Air Raid certification. Dude, appreciate you checking in, dude. If that's Stan, 1, big fan. 2, I played one game and then I gave it to our GA because I don't play as much Madden as I used to. So I uber appreciate that. Everyone go follow Air Raid. Air Raid, I hope you're subbed. I hope you dropped a like, all that goofy stuff. That's Stan Bedwell, Matt Mummy, and Hal Mummy. They're teaching these kids how to freaking tear it up. I need to take one of your courses, even though I'm a defensive line guy. I still, need to be out there. So Fox Sports, by the way, just went to a commercial break. But Air Raid, man, Stan Bedwell, fun fact about him, played in Europe, a lot of European, a lot of Italy, a lot of places in Italy and whatnot as well, I believe, all over Europe. And then he was a coach. He was a coach for the Spring League linemen, was on their championship roster. So he actually was coaching and playing with Reese Horn, Ryan Willis, Chase DeMore, a couple of these guys and whatnot as well. Q Wilson, the American Soldier. I really didn't want this merger. My Houston team won't be in it. I mean, it does suck, but in the end, football is better than no football. So we'll see what happens. So Q, I hope you dropped a like. I hope you subbed. Appreciate it. I think this is the first XFL YouTube video stream I've watched outside the comeback period. I don't know if that's a good thing or not. I appreciate your support though. Um, I have a pretty decent amount of interviews and whatnot as well. I'm kind of staying away from analysis. I'll be doing analysis and whatnot on Sam Shady's YouTube page, and I'll be doing some work with the End Zone as well. So that's kind of where I want to lie with a lot of this. For those keeping tabs, Reid pushed his stream back to 11:30. So we'll stay on until about 11:30 as well. God willing, we get the news, push on from that, but we'll see what happens on that front. I mean, they have to do it before the end of the hour, draw everyone in. Maybe they weren't getting the numbers they wanted as far as, how many people they wanted on the stream and everything like that. But we'll see what happens on that front. So, I'm here for it. Here for the how messy it could get. So JT 56. Yeah, it's only going to be 8 teams. QD American Soldier 8 teams. Yeah, but if this is what they have to do to kind of keep it together, then I'm good with that. Like I hate being a glass half full guy on that front, but if that's what they need to do, I'm okay with it. So we'll keel back over Fox Sports. Jimmy Johnson's getting, Ty. I mean, that would make the most sense, right? Yeah, they're doing a lot of Jerry Jones stuff right now. Having Fox in your back pocket coupled with ESPN. I know there was the stuff about Peacock being out. We'll see what happens on that front. Do I expect expansion the second year? No, I do not. I don't think that's even in their plans. I think they need to figure out to make sure that they can do this for multiple years. I'd rather have 8 teams for the next 10 years than 15, 16 teams for 2 years. And then a lot of these guys don't have anything to do for the rest of their careers. Like, not only is this big for the players, it's also big. And I'll kick it over to the stream real quick. So not only is this big for the players, this is also big for the coaches. This is big for the equipment staff, all that stuff. So it is going to be a pretty crazy environment. I mean, Bold Spear, we got a good comment here, man. You got 2 leagues trying to. Statistically, and this is funny, I always talk about the breakers, where it's the Boston Breakers, the Portland Breakers, whatever breakers you want to talk about. They've pretty much always been moved around. So it'd actually be more tradition to take the Breakers brand and push them around. So that'd be my opinion on it. So it is what it is. Yeah, so we'll pull this one out. I mean, Scott's not wrong. But here's the thing, dude. Like, how many of these people are really jazzed up about all this? Like, how many of these people are like, oh, I'm only turning in because of, like, all this stuff. So we'll see what happens. Just want to tweet this out real quick. As you can see, this is what he wrote. So Jimmy Johnson still talking. I'm probably a minute behind then. JJ the Mime, we'll see what happens. Yeah, no, we're standing pat right now. There he is. So I'll put it on as soon as as soon as he talks. Right now, Dwayne Johnson's talking about his time at the University of Miami, which I always recommend people engaging in Warren Sapp on it. So we're standing pat, standing by to stand by. No, I don't think you should quit because your team's not coming around. Because then when you want, like when you want this thing to come back and it doesn't, then like who do you have to blame and whatnot. So we're just kind of saying it's going to a commercial break. Yeah, I mean, this is where I'm at. And obviously, I want to keep it quick and whatnot because I'm trying to, not. But I mean, maybe he got his times messed up. Maybe that's what he's got going on. They teased it, so as soon as it pops back on, I'm sure the comments will blow up. Like I said, if you're new here, please drop a like, please subscribe. Really, helps the channel out, helps it grow. We had a high watermark and whatnot. So it is what it is. So everyone's been losing their mind and whatnot. Yeah, I mean it's teasing right now, so we'll see what happens. As we continue to go through the rosters, he said we'll probably stay until they announce it, and then I am pulling up right now. I will pull up Reid Johnson's page. It'd be funny, some people are talking. The website is live. JM. There we go. Website is live. We are cleared hot. Put that in the thing right there. Now they're doing American Idol. This is like being on American Idol. So I put in the comments right there. The website is live. So that's phase one. Let's dig through the website a little bit. As you can see, the USFL site, XFL site, they have an article pulled up. Russ Brandon to be the president. There we go, guys. This is dope. Russ Brandon to be the president. Daryl Johnson will lead football operations. This is it. New York, December 31st, 2023. Today marks the official announcement regarding the UFL, the United Football League, the Premier Spring Football League that will result in sorry, I'm tweeting and typing right here. Y'all could read that. That will result in the merger XFL, USFL. The 2024 season for the UFL is submit to kick off March 30th, 2024. Russ Brandon, former president and CEO of the XFL, will lead as president and CEO. Daryl Johnson, former USFL president of football operations, will lead football operations. Today's news was announced by Danny Garcia and Dwayne Johnson, Fox NFL Sunday, which is going on now. We'll kick back there. Football operations will be announced very shortly. Here are their statements on it. And then there you go. These are the new emails. So Andrew Fergosi, ESPN, Fox Sports, Gandier Communications, and then Jeff Allister from the XFL coming back over as well. Guys, I don't think we're getting an announcement. I think that's it. I think that's 100% it. I think we kind of got bodied a little bit. But in the end, I think that's your announcement, man. Like, I don't think we're getting teased anything else. There we go. Here it is. Keep it on there for a little bit. They just showed AJ McCarron and whatnot. But there's our announcement, guys. So that's the mold right there, man. Can you guys hear it now? So it's talking about kicking off. So pretty much what they're talking about is this is the best shot for sustainability to survive. It's Dwayne Johnson, Danny Garcia up there. They're talking about everything going on. They look like they have a new football in the hands of these guys as well. Yeah. So he's talking about the dream to play in the NFL and what now. 53, he's talking about his thing is stereotypical player 54. So it is what it is. Nothing too goofy. I stay more on this website and whatnot. They have the shops, no rosters, no teams or anything, but this is it. This is legit. It's happening. So, guys, I think that's really, as much as we can put it down right now. If you're new here, please drop a like, please subscribe, all that goofy stuff. I'm going to put in the comments Reid stream. Yeah, John, let's go to that real quick then. So we're going to show this video to everyone on the XFL legacy thing. This will all that goofy stuff. There's your promo. So right now he's saying the spring just got stronger and everything like that. Here's the press release. And that's the thing you got to watch. Birmingham Stallions versus the Arlington Renegades. This is it. So I appreciate everyone popping in and whatnot. I feel like I could have did it a little bit better. Still longer learning on this stream and everything. Guys, we capped out at what's the number? 51. If you're new here, please subscribe. Helps my channel grow. I'm going to post 2 videos real quick. From there, Here's Reid's stream that'll be down there. You got 35 people waiting. It starts in 5 minutes. And guys, thank you there. That's Reid's stream. Yeah, Craig, appreciate you checking in. So that's Reid's stream. Check that out. And then this is my interview with BJ Wilson for the now defunct Houston Roughnecks. So, guys, I appreciate everyone chopping in. Denzel, send me a DM. I'll send you some of it. And then, guys, go over the Reid stream right now. All right. Bye.